Welcome to this explainer. Today we're taking a really fascinating, super practical dive into the exact mechanics of human connection. We're drawing directly from the insights in 12 Steps to a Good Life. But to make this psychological deep dive a little more fun, I want you to picture something with me. Imagine a bustling, whimsical elven village. You know the kind: cobblestone paths, cozy little cottages, and elves just going about their daily routines. Throughout this explainer, we're going to use this little village to anchor our understanding of a fundamental human or, well, elven experience, the life cycle of a conversation.
Because we've all been there, right? Picture a nervous young elf standing just outside the local cobblestone bakery. They desperately want to join a group chatting right by the door, but they're totally frozen by that universal dread of an awkward silence. Why does this really simple act terrify us so much? Well, it's because we all carry these deep, profound desires for emotional security, for recognition, and for reassurance of our own worth. When we step into a conversation, we're making ourselves vulnerable. We are literally putting our self-image on the line, just hoping for some validation.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our chronological roadmap for today. We'll uncover the true purpose of small talk, the rules for starting a chat, the art of listening, how to keep the dialogue flowing, and finally, how to navigate difficult conversations.
Part 1. The purpose of small talk. Finding connection.
You know, we often dismiss small talk. We think of it as just boring chatter about the weather or maybe the local village harvest. But it's actually a really profound tool to subtly say, hey, I see you and you matter. Which brings us to this incredibly beautiful definition of a true conversation. It's an authentic exchange guided by mutual interests. It is absolutely not a competition to dominate, to win, or to score superior points. It's not a stage for our own egos. A real conversation flows spontaneously, building upon what each person contributes. And honestly, when we drop the need to sound like the smartest elf in the room, that is when true connection actually begins.
Moving on to Part 2. How to start conversations. The spark.
So, the crucial point is, how do we actually spark that connection? Well, it takes a bit of preparation and focus. Imagine our nervous elf enthusiastically ticking off a little parchment list right before approaching the bakery. First up, show genuine interest in them. Second, smile to set a warm, positive tone. Third, ask questions about their interests. And finally, give sincere, specific praise. Now, note the difference here. Praise acknowledges something specific that a person actually does, whereas flattery is just a vague, empty compliment, and people see right through that. And this brilliantly illustrates a golden rule from our source: prioritize the other person. Notice the stark difference between these two approaches. I-centric talk focuses selfishly on your own stories and your own desires. But you-centric phrasing, that completely turns the spotlight onto them. By consciously focusing on you rather than I, you fulfill their deep need for recognition. You make them feel incredibly important and valued right out of the gate.
Which leads us perfectly into Part 3, the art of listening, the fuel.
Okay, so we've sparked the conversation, but what keeps that fire burning? Counterintuitively, the most captivating conversationalists actually speak the least. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, let silence be the general rule, or let only what is necessary be said and in few words. Picture a wise elder elf just sitting on a wooden bench, listening intently to a young apprentice. We absolutely have to listen more than we speak. We need to pay close attention not just to the words being said, but to what is and what isn't being said between the lines.
This right here is vital. Never, ever assume you fully understand what someone means, or that they have comprehended your point exactly as you intended it. Assumptions are basically the ultimate enemy of clear communication. Active, really focused listening means you are constantly seeking clarity, you're asking for context, and you are staying actively engaged, rather than just silently waiting for your turn to talk.
Let's jump to Part 4. Keeping the conversation going. The dance.
Now, what's really interesting about this is what actually fuels the back-and-forth rhythm once the ice is broken. People have favorite topics, and taking up a massive 40% slice of that attention pie is themselves. That's right, people love talking about themselves. This is followed by family, work, hobbies, politics, and religion. So to keep the momentum alive, just steer the chat toward these subjects. Ask questions that get them talking about their absolute favorite subject, and I promise you, they will walk away thinking you are the most brilliant conversationalist they've ever met.
So let's break down the actual mechanical flow of that turn-taking. First, you ask those questions and you listen attentively. Second, make a true dialogue by asking follow-up questions. Don't just pause and let the topic die out of nowhere. And third, And honestly, this is the hardest one for a lot of us. Wait to be prompted before sharing about your own life and experiences. Do not monopolize the dialogue. Let the other person actually invite you to share.
Let's move to and see how this builds into part 5. Navigating difficult conversations, the storm.
Because let's face it, not all conversations are pleasant little chats outside a bakery. Sometimes a storm hits. Imagine two elves furiously arguing over a ruined magic potion. How do we keep a conversation going without completely destroying the relationship? Well, the source provides this brilliant framework. Every difficult argument is actually 3 hidden conversations layered together. First, you have the what happened debate. This is over facts, intentions, and who's to blame. Second, you have the feelings conversation bubbling right underneath. And third, the identity conversation, that internal panic about what this conflict means for your own self-image. Understanding that all 3 of these are happening at the exact same time is the key to untangling the whole mess.
To manage this intense flow, we can use a highly effective method called RADAR. That stands for Reflect, Describe, and Respond. Step 1, reflect. Take a step back and just observe your own reaction without judgment. Step 2, describe. Name your inner reality without blaming the other person, mainly by using I statements. And finally, respond. Choose a thoughtful action that's aligned with your values. Doing this shifts our interactions from automatic, toxic reactions to conscious, really healthy dialogue.
At the very core of navigating these storms, and honestly sustaining any true connection, is this incredibly powerful principle. You have to accept the situation exactly as it is, rather than perceiving it as a direct attack on your self-image. Dropping our defensiveness is what keeps the conversation grounded in honesty and respect. This mindset is exactly what allows love, connection, and truth to grow, ensuring the conversation can actually continue productively even when you're smack in the middle of a conflict.
So, we've journeyed through the entire life cycle of a conversation today. From that terrifying first approach to the subtle art of deep listening, the dance of a good dialogue, and weathering the absolute toughest storms. Visualize our elf right now, stepping confidently out of their cozy home and into the welcoming village, totally eager to build a new connection. Armed with these tools, you are absolutely ready to do the exact same thing. So, I'm going to leave you with this final empowering question to think about. Who will you speak to today?